Welcome to Flipped Lesson 3. If you haven't taken your notebook out yet to take notes, go ahead and pause the video, get that notebook out, and when you're ready, press play again so you can take notes. And another thing that you need to keep in mind is that you can use these notes on the quiz. So, you know what to do. Let's get started. Now, in class, some of you brought up that you weren't quite sure the difference between nouns and proper nouns and what you capitalize and what you don't. So I just want to make that very clear as we start continuing to move through these parts of speech. So, let's start with this question. What is a noun? Well, a noun is, very simply, most of you have probably heard this before, you should have heard this before, a person, a place, or a thing. A person, a place, or a thing. Just those three simple things. That's all you need to know when it comes to knowing what is a noun. So for example, Miss Wood, I'm a person, so that makes me a noun. The smartboard is a thing. That makes the smartboard a noun. A place. Room 110, your English classroom. That's a place, that is a noun. You know all of these things, and you can find them in every single sentence because, guess what? When we do complete sentences and I ask you to find the subject, that subject is a noun. That's what you're looking for. Now, there's a couple different kinds of nouns that I want to go over with you really quick just to make sure we understand and know when it comes to capitalization what exactly I'm looking for. So, we have this handy-dandy flowchart right now. If you want to go ahead and pause it to get this copy down, you can, or you can just do bullet points or a T-chart or however you want to take notes, whatever works best for you. So, we have our overarching topic, which is nouns. Now, there are two different kinds of nouns that we're going to talk about. The first one we're going to talk about are common nouns. What are common nouns? Well, they're exactly what we said before. They are people, places, and things. It's that simple. Now, let's write some examples. I'm going to write my own examples, but if you like, write your own. Write ones that make sense to you so you can understand. So, for example, for people, I will go ahead and write brother. Brother is a person. Now, let's talk about places. Home. Ooh, here's a vocabulary we haven't talked about in a little while. Ready? Do you remember what a tenement is? It's a building. Good. It's more like an old deserted building. That's generally what we think of when we talk about a tenement, like an old apartment building. But a tenement, that's a place. It's a building. It's also a thing. Now for things, I'm going to go ahead and write dog. Dogs are things, just like, let's say, the desk is a thing. All of these fall under the category of a common noun. Simply, people, places, and things. Now in class, you might hear me say, what is the noun? Sometimes I forget to say common noun. That's because when we talk about nouns, generally what we're talking about are common nouns. They're simple, they're easy, we're just naming things right off the bat. Now there's another type of noun, and we talked about that a little bit in some of our classes. That is a proper noun. What is a proper noun? Didn't change. Still people, places, and things, but it's specific this time. Specific people, places, and things. Now, something to remember when we're talking about that specific part, that is what you really need to make sure you understand, is, that they are specific. That's the word I really want to make sure you understand. Proper nouns are specific. They have a name, and that's the key. If it's a person, a place, or a thing, it's a common noun. If it is named, then generally it's a proper noun and you have to capitalize it. So, for example, if I go back to these, I'm going to change these into proper nouns. My brother's name is Michael. Notice I've capitalized the M in Michael because it's his name. It's very specific. Part of that has to do with respect. We have respect for these people or these places or these things. Since it's specific, we name it. We're not just saying, oh, the brother, my brother. We're saying Michael. He's the one that I'm talking about. Yeah, are there several other Michael Woods? Sure. But the one I'm talking about is this one. That's why I'm capitalizing it. Let's change home into a proper noun. My home is on Lichen Lane. Kind of a funky spelling. Now I've taken a place and I've turned it into a proper noun. It's very specific. I live on Lichen Lane. Now let's do one more. You all know my dog's name. It's Delilah. Delilah is a very specific dog I'm talking about. So we're going to capitalize that first letter because it's a proper noun. It's very specific. Now, desk is a little bit tricky. I really can't think of any way that I could make desk proper. Generally, actually always, when you have desk, it's going to stay a common noun unless you decide to name your pet goldfish Desk, in which case that becomes its name. And lo and behold, you will have a capitalized desk. But for now, you are just going to have a lowercase desk because there's no proper noun that we can think of that would fall under that category. You might say my desk, but it's still just a desk. You don't need to capitalize it. If that confused you, I've got some capitalization rules for you. So, just to review really quick, we have common nouns, which are just people, places, and things, and proper nouns. What you need to know about those proper nouns is that they're very specific. It's the specific one that you're talking about that makes it a proper noun. So there are some capitalization rules that we follow when we talk about proper nouns. The first one is that you capitalize the names of people and pets. For example, remember we've already talked about my brother, Michael, or I could think of another name like Levi. Or pets. I once had a dog named Bingo. Names of people, names of pets. You're always going to capitalize them. Another capitalization rule is that you are going to capitalize geographic locations. What on earth does that mean? Geographic locations are a place that you could go, not just like here or there or the park. It's a specific place. So, for example, Paris or Levante Park. If you are thinking of others, write your own. Here's another one for you. Laramie Middle School. It's a place that you can go and it has a title because it's a specific place you could go to. Now, another capitalization rule, we're halfway there, would be months and days of the week. You all know this because you do your Katyas and you know to capitalize Tuesday and you know to capitalize October. So, days of the week and months. Just like we said before, and if you're going through this, you want to write your own examples because it makes more sense to you, do that. The one that came to mind was our Katya from today, which is Wednesday. I know it looks like it's spelt wrong. I promise it's not. Wednesday. Or October. Okay, we're halfway there. Stay with me. The next one we're going to talk about are titles. So, we talked about this a little bit in our Katya because several of you were capitalizing dean, like the dean, and that's not quite what you need to capitalize. That would fall under the category of a common noun, just the dean. However, if we say Dean Dredd, that specific dean, then it becomes a proper noun. So, you're going to capitalize those titles. For example, we talked about this one in class. Principal Fisher. Principal Fisher. That is her title, and that's her name. We capitalize her name anyway, because that falls under this rule. But for this one, that's her title. Here's another one for you. President Obama. We capitalize Obama because that's his last name, and that falls under this category. But since he's the president, we have to capitalize that because it's his title. Another one that we're going to talk about is companies. Companies are a brand name. So they're established, they're specific. If you just say the company, okay, well, which company? For example, to make company a proper noun, think of a specific company, such as Nike or Starbucks. Whatever company falls under the specific title, that's going to be capitalized. Okay, last one. The last one we're going to talk about are languages. You've probably noticed in class, I never write English like this. That's because what language? The specific language is English. It's a proper noun. So we have to cross that out. That becomes a capital E because it's the specific language we're talking about. Same with Spanish, French, or any other language you're talking about. Okay, let's go back through and review everything really quick. A noun is a person, a place, or a thing. And there are two different types. One are common nouns, which didn't change. Still people, still places, still things. Like the dog, or brother, or home. But then we can make it a little bit more specific. If you're asking, well, what home? If you want to get specific, then it becomes a proper noun. So, Michael is my brother. Lichen Lane is where I live. Delilah is the name of my dog. And all of these specific capitalization rules can be found here. What's in black is the rule. What's in blue is the examples. Names of people and pets, geographic locations, days of the week and months, which I know you know because we've been doing it in class, titles such as president or principal, companies, and languages. That's all I have for you. Go take Flipped Quiz 3, and if you're still kind of confused and need a little bit more practice, in the section where it says Flipped Lesson 3, there is a link. That link is to Khan Academy. It's another fantastic resource for you, which kind of works like a flipped lesson. They're going to talk you through common and proper nouns again if you need a little bit more practice. If you have questions, write them down in your notebook so that you can come and ask me when you get in class. That's all I have for you. So pause, rewind, go forward, whatever you need to do, and then take Flipped Quiz 3, and I'll see you in class. Thanks, guys.